Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Wise. Today we are at the next topic, that is the endgame studies explained. We are at the 73rd position of our topic. We have got a typical king and pawn endgame case, which is not very complicated, but it uses some basic techniques of king and pawn endgame when there are pawns on the same side. We see the black pawns have advanced a bit more. Both kings are relatively far away from their enemy pawns. White to play and win. So let's get down to the position quickly. See the pawns. Black pawns have advanced here, and it's very important that white tries to block the pawns. This opposition matters a lot in this case. So we know in king and pawn endgame opposition plays a major role. So let's get down to the calculation and let's see what works and what doesn't work. White has three candidates only: king b6, king b5 and pawn going to g4. Let's look at them one by one. After k b5 and b6, both black should play the move kb2, because here if kb3 is played, there is fear of giving up the opposition to white again. So let's see what is the difference. Let's go into this line first. After kc5, kc2, kd5, kd2, ke5, ke2, here we see the important point that after kf3, kf2, we see kg6 just leads to a drawn position. Mutually the pawns will be traded. And here after the move g4, white has to play the very careful king e3. Very important to snatch the opposition and go near the white pawn as well. If kf3, then king comes to f5 and black has to leave the pawn on g4 and the king enters g6 and collects the black pawns. We will come to that line later in the other variation. After king f2 also, white has the move king f6. King f5 would allow kf3. So here black plays the important move ke3, snatching the opposition. Now after king f6 there is king f4. And when after kg6, kg4, kh6, kh3, we have a drawn game. And after king f5 also, similarly kf3, kg6, kg4, simply transposing to the previous line. After kh6, black can choose between kh4 or kh3. Both are drawn. Similar situation will happen even to the move kb6. Black will go with the move kb2. So white has to use the proper move order and play g4 first. It's very important to block the enemy pawns, and we can see that white also has a spare move at his hand if he requires it to snatch the opposition. But in this case it's not necessary, because wherever black moves his king, white is going to get the opposition. kb2 is the main line. Let's look at kb3, although both are very similar. After kb3, kb5, kc3, kc5, kd3, kd5, ke3, ke5, we reach the previous line. But here after kf3, kf5, black is on the move and black suffers because he has to take his king away from the attack on the g4 pawn. So after kg2 here, just kg6, and the very important move after kh3, again kh5, putting black in a zugzwang. This is the benefit of fixing the pawns first. Now what happens after kh2, kh6, kg3 or h3, white king takes the pawn and supports his own pawn. This technique I had discussed when we considered case of winning with an extra pawn in king and pawn endgames. We fix the pawns on the opposing wing. This is the basic concept. So black sets a small trap with kb2. If now kb5, then kb3, and the position will be drawn. So white just avoids that, takes the distant opposition, and the kings keep on moving closer to the pawns. So kc2, kc6, kd2, kd6, maintaining the distant opposition, ke2, ke6, and finally here kf3, kf5 is the previous line. So black can try kf2, again kf5, kf3 is drawn. So king f6, and now we see black is ultimately forced to go kf3. If king g2, then kg6. The same position comes one move before. So king f3 forced, king f5, kg2, kg6. We reached the previous position. We discussed kh3 that time, and now after king h2 also, kh6, and the same story after kg3, king g5, and this is the benefit of fixing the pawns. King takes the opponent pawn and supports his own pawn, and white wins the game. Although the position was not very difficult, but it was based on a very important king and pawn endgame concept. We used opposition plus we blocked the pawns to finish off the opponent's pawn moves. I hope you are finding these lessons useful. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.